Every natural man and woman is born in the private, whereas the state is public and therefore its public servants and its legal fiction creations are in the public, including its artificial legal persons. A man or woman can either live in the private or act in the public. However, we are trained from an early age to accept a higher authority as normal. Most people exist in a culture of submission and conformity, allowing numerous aspects of their lives to be controlled by the government. The populace is manipulated to become dependent, debt money, and conditioned to become fearful, racism, terrorism, and wars. The manner and appearance of authority is usually intimidating by design, while the language of legal fiction commerce, legalese, is deceptive. You are indoctrinated to act in the role of an artificial legal person, which is a creation of the state, and a debtor serving as surety for the corporate debt of your nation, income. Every nation with a central bank under the Bank for International Settlements has been indebted by the incorporation of its government into the debt money system, thereby surrendering its power of sovereign money issuance. A global system of debt bondage has been established by incorporating governments and by programming the people to act in the fictional roles of artificial persons, which as legal fictions having no innate productive capacity are debtors by default, serving as transmitting utilities for human energy. An artificial legal person is a dead entity. It is a legal fiction persona in the theatre of commerce, and it is under the Foreign Admiralty Maritime Jurisdiction, the international law of the sea. On the contrary, you are born into your own sovereign estate of body, mind, and soul. As a sentient man or woman, you live within the sovereign common law jurisdiction, the national law of the land. The common law follows natural law, a living system of right or justice held to be common to all humans, and derived from nature rather than from the rules of society. In natural law, all people are born equal and endowed with unalienable rights. Your sovereign jurisdiction, including your inborn unalienable rights, cannot be taken from you without your fully informed and willing consent. Legal person actors for incorporated governments, banks, and all corporate entities need to contract with other legal person actors to extract their commercial energy. These legal actors make the presumption that you are also acting in the role of a legal person in legal fiction commerce, which is why they are seeking a contract performance. They always want the name and often the creation date of the legal person to establish joinder, forming an adhesion contract. They need a person because there is absolutely no way they can contract directly with a living man or woman. They need a man or woman to consent to take responsibility in the matter of the person unknowingly or knowingly, which is joinder. In this way, a man or woman becomes party to the action involving the person, which is joinder of the parties into a single case in legal fiction commerce. When a living name is mirrored by the registration of an artificial legal person on the birth certificate, an estate trust is formed, such as Mr. John Doe Trust. Any living man or woman unknowingly in joinder to such a legal fiction name blindly takes responsibility for the alleged debts of the trust as its trustee, whereas an aware living man or woman can separate themselves from the legal fiction name and become the rightful controlling agent, beneficiary, executor, or executrix for Mr. John Doe Trust. Legal actors will attempt to engage the person by posting letters, by phone, or on the highway to make and enforce a contract. Misrepresenting a living man or woman as a fictional person causing unwitting joinder is the crime of personage, and it is perpetuated by barratry, the crime of bringing false claims in court. The term barratry, appropriately, comes from the Bar Association. Under the common law jurisdiction, or the law of the land, both parties must enter into every contract knowingly, voluntarily, and intentionally. If these conditions aren't met, the contract is unenforceable and void. However, under the Admiralty Maritime Jurisdiction, which is often referred to as the law of the sea, consent to contract is often presumed by silent acquiescence, unless, of course, the party contracted thereby rebuts the presumption of consent. If you do not wish to consent to their contract offer, also known as presentment, You must rebut the presumption that you are acting in the role of a fictional legal person. As the maxim of law states, quid fas non veritas est. Legality is not reality. The first step is to separate yourself from the legal fiction. If you answer to the artificial legal person name, you contract by joinder to become a liable debtor. However, if you stand truthfully as a man or woman, not acting as an artificial legal person, the two are separated. Because of years of conditioning, it takes time to separate the legal fiction from reality, in your mind and in the real world. A powerful and lawful approach is simply to verify everything. You are never obliged to answer questions or to provide government-issued ID. Truly, to uphold your government of the people, it is not your duty to answer questions, it is your duty to ask questions. You have the right to know who is making a claim against you, the right to know who the injured party is, the right to conditionally accept any claim against you upon verification, the right to reserve your rights without prejudice, and thereafter, the right to remain silent to avoid self-incrimination. By failing to exercise their rights, the people have been betrayed and have allowed their governance to be turned against them, so that the people have been monetized. The original offices of de jure unincorporated government institutions have been usurped and are mostly unoccupied by de jure public servants working for the people in a de jure public capacity. The public state has been captured by financial piracy and has become a commercial enterprise operating by contract under the Admiralty Maritime Jurisdiction, law merchant, in the international law of the sea. The following definitions apply to the de facto incorporated state, in which the agencies of government and all artificial legal persons are merely corporate franchises. Private. To be in the private is to live in a private capacity as a man or woman, with flesh and blood, arms and legs, a conscious mind, a spirit, and life. All men and women are created as equal sovereigns, endowed with unalienable rights and properties, including credit equating to their valuable human energy. As natural men and women, they are creditors, because they are born naturally with innate productive capacities. Their right to contract is unlimited, and they have unlimited liability, being responsible adults. They are outside and above the state, from Latin privatus, set apart, belonging to oneself, not to the state. Public. To be in the public is to act in a public capacity as an accommodation party in joinder to an artificial person created and governed by the state. All men and women who act in legal fiction roles for the state are granted revocable privileges and benefits prescribed in legislative acts. As artificial persons, they are debtors because they are created legally without innate productive capacities. Their right to contract is limited, and they have limited liability, being legally incompetent creatures of the state, its legal children. They are inside and under the state, from Latin publicus, of the people, of the state, done for the state.